Hey YouTubers, and welcome back to another Dragon Ball Super discussion video, and I am once again joined by Kihokai 1994. Man, why don't you say hello to everyone listening?
What's up, Dragon Ball lovers? I'm back here to talk about a good discussion with my good friend Mark.
That's right, man, that's right. So guys, we're going to be talking about something, you've discussed this like here and there every now and then, it's always just kind of up in the air, but it's not necessarily something we always talk about. But I think after episode 104, I believe it was, we need to revisit this conversation because one of the things Dragon Ball Super has been doing for the last couple weeks is it's been giving some major shine to some of the more interesting characters that we've seen be introduced throughout the entirety of Dragon Ball Super. And I wanted to once again revisit this topic as to who is the most interesting newcomer in the entire series out of everyone Dragon Ball Super has introduced. And you know what? Just to be clear, man, just to kind of be fair about this, I'm also including Jocko, I'm also including Beerus and Whis, even though they were technically, introduced in the movies that were Dragon Ball Z canon and not necessarily Super at the time. So, I mean, let's just go down the list. I mean, obviously there's a lot of arguments to be made for a lot of different people, but do you have anyone to throw out there immediately? Who's the first one who actually comes to mind?
So I do want to kind of add off your intro just a little bit real quick. Again, agreed. This is 100% new characters that have come from Super, and it's a discussion that we're going to continue to have and can have multiple videos off of still, because Dragon Ball Super is not over, so they can still introduce something crazy at the very end since we have no end to it yet. So this is a good evolution that we can see happen through the whole series. But I have a lot of favorite newcomers, like you said, Jocko, some funny little side characters. But personally, my favorite villain, quote, villains, are going to be Zamasu and Goku Black. A lot of people don't like the Trunks arc. I know that I have a few friends that are kind of on my side about like being madly in love with it, but I feel some of the best storytelling of Super has come through the Dragon Ball Super Trunks arc. A lot of people also disagree and say there's a billion plot holes and there's this problem, this problem, this problem, but just when it comes down to like the writing of characters, I really enjoy the backstory, the backgrounds, the life and evolution of mind of Zamasu. Just seeing that snapping point and actually seeing him make a ungodly decision of trying to wipe out all of the mortal creations that they are there to protect and create for. It's not their job, obviously, to destroy because it's the Hakaishin's job to destroy. So not letting their universe's god of destruction, take out the problem, we get to see him snap and turn into a very god-esque, I'd say god. He's a very godly personality figure, and that was what I really enjoyed seeing, and he made Goku the villain in that arc, and I like that. They're doing it a lot in this arc, and it's not as interesting to me. Like, the Pride Troopers are like, you're evil, we're here for justice, but I liked it more whenever Zamasu was saying he was evil, but I know you have a difference in opinion on that one, Mark.
Yeah, no, I'm not necessarily sure whether I think Zamasu is, without a doubt, the best new character that Dragon Ball Super has ever introduced. In fact, there's a lot of things that I'm not really too fond about with that arc. One of the things I wish they would have done, and I think would have actually really helped his character, is getting rid of the entire twist that they did, or at least the mystery surrounding Goku Black and Zamasu and their connection for the most part. Now, how that connection actually came about could have still remained a mystery with the Super Dragon Balls and literally wishing himself into Goku's body and then another timeline being a part of all this and whatnot. That's fine. I'm even more willing to kind of sit there and say, yeah, all those plot holes, or, for a lot of people saying that they messed up the time limits or they messed up the timeline. Yeah, I could have smoothed all that over. That's fine. It's just, I would have liked to see, and I think they did try to do this, but I think it could have been smoother. I guess Goku Black and his growth and power and destruction. They actually could have shown this. And Zamasu in the main timeline, his, I guess, derailment into a more evil mindset, or at least clarity in exactly what he was going to do and have. I know this is kind of like what they did, but I wish they would have done it a little smoother. And the very fact that a lot of that arc and character development for Zamasu is very shaky at least, then it makes me not necessarily way too fond of his character. And basically going all the way back to what you said, I also really like Jocko. I think he is a really awesome character, super funny. And I know the Jocko manga, and also he was in the movies, but he's always been really nice. I just don't think they've actually used him to any real degree that's been worthwhile or exciting. I mean, a couple jokes here and there isn't necessarily something I jump at. It's just kind of like, oh, whenever he shows up, it's really awesome. In fact, I really think he should be there watching in the tournament too, because that would be pretty fun to have his comedic relief. I think that at times this tournament's actually going to get super dark, and without having him or really any other spectators, I mean, Chi-Chi, Bulma, all the old people aren't necessarily there. They're all doing their own thing, which I really think Dragon Ball Super really needs to kind of, I guess, cut away from it. We see people in the stands, we see people fighting in the tournament, and there's a lot of stuff going on at once, so there's enough story to fill up a ton of episodes, but at the same time, we need to see what other people are doing. We need to cut away, maybe even have a little bit more of a fun moment than just utterly dark and depressing. But with all that being said, I know everyone is not surprised by my pick is Hit, the legendary assassin Hit. And this is one of the reasons I wanted to make this video. I wanted to reaffirm again and just get your opinions on this as well. After episode 104 of Dragon Ball Super, I think it is without a doubt that Hit is the most interesting character that we've seen in all of Dragon Ball Super. The guy is 1,000 years old. He still is shrouded in so much mystery. And in terms on, like, when you stack that on top of the whole fighting shonen manga anime series that Dragon Ball Super is, the very fact that he is this person who has so many abilities and so much grab bag of all this other stuff, on top of this improvement Zenkai, like a mofo, to the extreme that he has after fighting Dispo. I have a hard time sitting there and saying, if you don't see Hit as the coolest, most intriguing character that Dragon Ball Super has introduced, and that's up top of Zamasu, Topo, Jiren, Jocko, everybody. I mean, this guy is just, I want to see more of him. I want to learn more about him. I just want them to make an OVA like the History of Trunks special, or maybe even another series about him. I mean, it's just amazing.
No, I do want to say that Hit is a pretty awesome character. And I just got done watching the episode. I've been back a few days because of work and everything. And I think I could put him in my top 2 list as well. Obviously, I already said Zamasu. I feel like Jocko as a character should be very happy that he made it onto the list of 5 characters as well. But I could definitely see Hit being in the solid top 3, in the number 2 position most likely, but in like the top 3 best new characters. That episode was super awesome. Like, I hate how undescriptive those 2 words are, but that's what it was. Like, I sat there just intrigued the whole time, like, especially like when Dispo, like, spoiler warning for anybody who didn't actually watch the episode first. Okay, now, when Dispo, had his copy go off the edge, like, that part, I was like, oh, I can't believe Hit just won, and then, like, there's the twist for that, and then, like, definitely getting to see how he actually interacted with Goku when Goku came in, and he was like, I don't need your help even though there's 2-on-1, and then Goku does, the very Goku thing of like, I'm not here to help you, I'm just here because it's not fair, and like just that kind of stuff. Like, the episode really shined in my eyes, and I feel like ever since episode 101, they've really just been stepping it up. Earlier you were mentioning how you wish they would have dove a little bit more in depth into some of the stuff in the Future Trunks arc, and I personally would have loved to see about like 6 to 9 more episodes in that arc, just like trying to fully flush out all of that like in like incitement that they had in themselves, and like creating the ultimate being that they were trying to become in the ultimate duo. But this arc is doing that, and like this arc is like super slow, and they've been like filling in all of these moments, and I really feel like this could be where we could get like a lot more hit potential for story development and character development to happen. That's personally what I think is going to happen in these next few episodes as well.
Well, that's one of the things I think we need to focus on when it comes to Hit and why he is a good character. I have a couple of the people I want to mention, but I just want to kind of focus a little bit more on Hit when you're talking about character development. One of the things that I think a lot of people overlook, and I have mentioned this in other videos before, is that we get a lot of character development through Hit without necessarily having to take too much time to expand on his backstory or give us a ton of exposition about what he went through and everything else like that. In a brief conversation, you can learn that this guy is not only a legendary assassin through his reputation, but also 1,000 years old just by kind of condemning, just kind of throwing shade at Goku as being like a young person. And then how he fights Goku with screaming and powering up, even though he doesn't know how to do that or he can't do that, but he's just mocking Goku, and to the point where he doesn't, and even before that, where he's so disinterested, he doesn't even open his eyes. He doesn't even show his, he doesn't even show any interest in Vegeta or Goku fighting before him. And then once he actually starts fighting Goku, he learns to respect Goku to the point where he lets Monaka just basically take him out. That says a lot about his character and basically giving up the cube, even though we don't necessarily know why that happened. In fact, more than likely, all that really is just kind of like a cheap writing technique where they just like, okay, we need him to have motivation because he can't be a baseless villain or a baseless person. And then once he basically finishes his goal, they're just like, yeah, well, okay, just like write it off because whatever. But at the same time, we don't know. It's still shrouded in mystery. It's still interesting. And the same thing with the Dispo fight is he literally allowed himself to take the punishment, showing a huge, a character development from him. That's what Goku did when they first fought. He took the punishment to figure out exactly how much time he needed to kind of elapse and all this stuff. Vegeta did kind of the same thing. He let Hit punch him so he could grab his arm before he knew that the Tokutobashi was actually the thing that was actually allowing him to outspeed Vegeta. So you get to see a ton of character development from him without actually having to focus on it or dwell on it, the same way that we had to focus and dwell on Zamasu becoming Zamasu and Goku Black and stuff. Now, granted, that is a lot different. Just the characters and the way that the story was built up, that's true. But at the same time, he's interesting and he grows with every scene that they put him in, unlike someone like Jiren, who is just sits there and actually looks just stoic and never really says anything. We don't get a lot from him. We got a lot from Hit very shortly. Another couple people I want to talk about just really quickly. I love Kale. But I feel like Caulifla is probably a better character, considering the fact that she, out of anyone that Dragon Ball Super has introduced, other than Pan, but Pan is way too young to actually kind of delve into at this point. Caulifla is the only character that is a decent Goku archetype while being just different enough to make her interesting again. She's the person who is just overly excited to fight everyone. She has a moral, stance on what is right and what is wrong and who to protect and who not to protect, and she always wants to get stronger. She is a character I would really like to see advance more and get to know a lot better, explore some in the plot. If we ever get to, I'd be very excited to.
No, I would love to see more background into her. I like her over Kale as well. I like her so much that since I pulled her on Dokkan, I'm using her on my AGL team. But no, so like I really do enjoy her, but the person I would personally like to see a lot more out of is Kaba. I really, really like his character and like him respecting Vegeta like for being a prince and for his strength and everything, and like he doesn't even care about Goku. Like I actually really like that, since Vegeta is like part of my favorite family of Saiyans in Dragon Ball franchise period. I really like how much he respects Vegeta and like how he wants to learn more from him, and like kind of like the witty banter between him and Vegeta and all that. Like, I want to see a lot more of that, and I assume I'm going to see that soon in the Tournament of Power, because that's not a fight I feel like they're going to leave out. But that's personally another one of my top 5 favorite super characters would definitely be Kaba. That introduction of him was really good to this franchise, I feel.
I agree. I feel like he is an interesting character, considering the fact that he kind of walks the line of being somewhere in between Vegeta and Gohan. And I think a lot of people can get behind him in that sense. I mean, he's prideful as being a Saiyan, but he's also incredibly respectful and willing to basically admit that he needs help and all this other stuff, like someone like Gohan. And I think that that's interesting. Plus, he looks like Gohan, which I think a lot of people were very quick to kind of point out that he kind of looks like Gohan in one way or the other with the spiked hair.
That's okay. Gohan kind of looks like Yamcha too.
Exactly, which has always been very weird. I really think, though, that if I had to pick a god, though, I really like Zeno, but I wouldn't actually put Zeno on my top list. I feel like
I wouldn't either.
I feel like he is more of a... What would you say? Like, he's more of just plot device than he is like a character at this point, and he takes a lot of the tension out of the room when he walks in.
I liked him before this arc. I liked him a lot before this arc and the ending of the Future Trunks arc. I liked him a lot, and probably would have put him at my top.
I didn't like him in the Future Trunks arc because of the button thing. We knew that the button was not going to be good. It was going to lead to something. It was going to lead to something kind of ass-pooly, and it really did. So I didn't necessarily like him. I would say, though, as much as I like Beerus and Whis, I really like Champa. I think Champa's the...
I really like Vados.
I think Champa, he's just so funny. I mean, in the last episode, he's like, that guy looks like Beerus. Like, he's basically talking for the audience now, for us. He's just like, that guy looks like Beerus. This has to be cheating. Like...
Now, Vados is my favorite because her response to that was, well, you realize you look exactly like Beerus too, right? I look nothing like Beerus.
That's why he's great.
I'm the chubby, nice one. Like, oh my god, dude. Now, Vados has always been my favorite of the angels because of how, like, savage she is. Like, the first time you see her, she's like, you fat bastard, get up. You're not supposed to be drinking soda. Drink some water or drink Powerade or whatever, like, sports drink she said. He's sitting there wanting to drink, like, a daiquiri. It's got, like umbrellas and everything sticking out the top of it. It's great.
I agree. But honestly, we don't necessarily see a whole lot from any of the gods of destruction or angels outside of them. And the Shinkan and Zeno are not really the best of characters for the most part, and we haven't necessarily gotten enough time to look at all these other characters that they've been introducing. There's a lot of interesting people out there, and hopefully they kind of expand on this a little bit more as we go forward. But with that being said, guys, I want everyone to go down to the description section below and hit that link to go subscribe to Kihokai. They make some really awesome content, so make sure to go check them out. And also, guys, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to this video. Don't forget to hit that bell over by the subscriber button, because that's going to notify you every single time I upload daily videos for you guys. Daily Dragon Ball content videos, discussions, questions, all this other stuff, just theories, every day, guys. So please make sure to subscribe and watch and everything. Anyway, guys, but with that being said, we're going to go. I hope everyone has a good day. It's been real.
Peace.